Hey guys, welcome back. Okay, hopefully I've got this live streaming stuff down so we can take a look at the comics that are coming out this week. And again, very heavy on Marvel and DC because they're putting out a ton of books this week. So let's jump in and take a look. First up, we have Batman 78. As Tom King's run on Batman is winding down, here we are getting the latest part of the City of Bane storyline. And of course, though, this is an interlude in the first part of a City of Bane interlude. So this is going to be, instead of it being about what's happening in Gotham, this is going to be what's happening with Catwoman trying to get Batman back into shape so that he can go back to Gotham and fight that fight. But, oh my goodness, I'm ready for this to be over. I'll just say that. I know there's a lot of fans for Tom King. I like a lot of Tom King stuff. I did like Omega Men and Sheriff of Babylon and Vision and, stuff like that. But, boy, I have not been a fan of this Batman run. I can't wait for it to be over. I'm sorry. If you feel differently, you can let me know down in the comments below. But, yeah. So anyway, now this week, of course, Batman is not the only Batman book because we are also getting Detective. Yeah, great job, DC, putting out both books in the same week. But again, this is continuing the story of what's happening with Deadshot trying to fulfill his contract in capturing Bruce Wayne. And of course, Bruce Wayne is trapped on this island where the plane has crashed with all the other rich guys that were heading to this meeting overseas. It's one of those things. It's just been a fun story. It's kind of that over-the-top comic book story that we're looking for. A lot of fun, good time, and Mr. Freeze backup story. It's the last piece of his Year of the Villain master plan, which we haven't seen a whole lot of. We've just seen him kind of talking about how he's going to do something, but I guess now we're finally going to see how that's going to play out. We've got Event Leviathan number 4. For those of you who've been following Event Leviathan, what do you think about this? To me, it's just the problem of there's so much stuff going on in DC where things don't really feel like they overlap with each other and they have a lot to do with each other. Event Leviathan has been one of these where it's kind of been lost in the shuffle with the other stuff. It does well as a Superman story, even though the stuff happening in it doesn't really seem to be affecting the other stuff happening in Superman, although it will affect a book that we're going to talk about here in a minute. But getting back to Event Leviathan, here we go. Witness the interrogation of the decade as Bruce Wayne tears into Superman. So apparently Superman knows something. So we will have to find out what it is. This is from Brian Michael Bendis. This is part of his new initiative at DC. We'll see if it's any good. I'm really hoping this turns out to be a good series. It's been okay so far, but at least it has the correct version of the question. Vic Sage has been brought back. All right, Gotham City Monsters. Now, I'm bringing this one up. I know a lot of you are thinking, Gotham City Monsters, what's the point of this? But when Leviathan in Event Leviathan shut everything down, they shut down so many of these groups, Spiral and Checkmate and Shade and all of that stuff. Well, Shade, for those of you who were at the beginning of the New 52, you remember that Frankenstein was an agent of Shade. It was one of those series. It was actually a lot of fun. Well, now that Leviathan has taken out Shade, then Frankenstein is now free to go out on his own. He recruits a lot of the other monsters and things from other corners of the DC universe, like Lady Clayface and Killer Croc. Orca, I'm not exactly sure who Orca... Oh, Orca. Is that like King Shark's? Anyway, doesn't matter. And then Vampire Andrew Bennett, who I think is the guy from I, Vampire, which, again, was another good series at the dawn of the New 52 that's been lost in the wayside. So it's good to see those characters come back together, and they're going to do this story. It is Steve Orlando, but I'm hoping it'll be good anyway. We've got Riddler, Year of the Villain. Apparently, Riddler has been one of the few villains who did not get a special gift from Lex Luthor. So now he's trying to figure out why he's been slighted and how he can either get something or get revenge. So this should be pretty fun. Riddler has been a character that's gotten a lot more attention in the New 52. People take him a lot more seriously. Of course, he was on Gotham and things like that. So hopefully this turns out to be a good book. Now, jumping over to Marvel, we've got a new Absolute Carnage crossover, Symbiote of Vengeance. As it turns out, the former Ghost Rider Alejandra Jones, a lot of you may not remember, but this is, if you go back to, I think, 2011, we had Johnny Blaze quitting being Ghost Rider, and this new college-age girl became Ghost Rider and ran with that for a while. Now, Carnage is chasing down her for whatever reason. So to get something out of her for rebuilding that symbiote god from the Venom books that we've been looking for. So there's the Carnage book for you guys. There's another one, Absolute Carnage versus Deadpool, number 2 of 3. So for you Deadpool fans, for you Carnage fans, this is continuing this storyline. And this book has actually been doing pretty well, sales-wise, I believe. I'm not sure of the book. If anybody's been reading this, are there still fans? I know Deadpool became this big cultural, huge, big, everybody loves Deadpool because of the movies and everything, but it really doesn't seem to have translated to the comics a whole lot. So I'm wondering who's actually reading this. Is anybody out there watching this actually reading the Carnage stuff with Deadpool or anything Deadpool? Are you still a Deadpool fan, or did you get tired of them the same way everybody got tired of Wolverine after a while, the same way, they got tired of everything? Are you already tired of Carnage with all this stuff going on? It's what comic book companies do. They have a character like Deathstroke or Wolverine or Venom or Carnage or somebody who becomes big for a while, so they put them everywhere, and then people get tired of them, and then they kind of go away. Are you guys still reading Deadpool stuff? Are you liking Carnage versus Deadpool? We've got Miles Morales, Spider-Man number 10. I'm only bringing this up because they are calling this issue number 250 of the Legacy numbering. So this is supposed to go back to the original Ultimate Universe. In fact, we can see Ultimatum is here. This is supposed to go back to some storyline, some dangling plot thread from the Ultimate Universe that we should get into. I don't know really how much people are expecting this to be anything special. I really don't think it's going to be. Miles Morales, this series has really died off since they rebooted it with, what's his name? But, this is supposed to be number 250, so that's why I bring that up. Moon Knight Annual number 1. This actually looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. This is part of that Acts of Vengeance, which is going back to their... or Acts of Evil, which goes back to the Acts of Vengeance storyline, kind of playing along with that. These, I will admit that these specials, these annuals, have been mostly misses. Hit or miss, these have been misses. They've not been too fantastic, but this one has a couple things going for it. One, it's actually written by Cullen Bunn, and he's usually pretty good at doing this fun stuff. Also, it is Kang the Conqueror. And Kang, he's just one of those characters I've always had a soft spot in my heart for. Just love that guy. So this should be a good time. We've got Powers of 10, number 4, continuing Hickman's storyline here. Yeah, I don't know. These sell really well, but... And a lot of people, they like the idea of the books. They like the idea that this is important and it's big for the X-Men, but a lot of them, they're just not sure how well they like this new take on the X-Men. And a lot of people really don't like paying the extra $1 for the weird text pages that Hickman does. But hey, if you like it, let me know in the comments below. Let me know what you like about it. What about House of X and Powers of 10? Are you really digging with Hickman's run on this? But nonetheless, that is coming out this week, so of course that is going to be a big seller. We've got the Star Wars Age of Resistance Supreme Leader Snoke special. I actually got to read this one earlier today. Snoke doesn't really have a lot of history thanks to being killed off in The Last Jedi. The Last Jedi did a lot of things wrong. I'm going to say it. I am one of those people. Did not like the movie at all, but Snoke was an intriguing character. This can't really add a whole lot to the character because there's not really a lot there to work with, but what it does is it talks about his training of Kylo Ren. and they basically go to Dagobah, deal with the Force Cave and the stuff that happens there, and things not exactly work out the way Snoke expects, but he believes for the best with his training of Kylo Ren. So those of you who are fans of that can look forward to that. It's also from Tom Taylor. He's a solid writer, generally speaking. He deals a lot with the multiverse and alternate histories and stuff like that. So he gets the ability to add some fake history to Snoke here. Technically, these are supposed to be canon in the new Marvel, Disney, Star Wars universe, but I'm not sure how well all of that's going to last, especially with some of the big stuff that's happening in Rise of Skywalker, the new movie coming out this December. Nonetheless, there it is. We do have Venom 18 here, another Absolute Carnage tie-in, which, I mean, you kind of have to expect. And we do have, it looks like the creator here, like a venomized version of the creator, is what it looks like, who is Reed Richards, of course, from an alternate timeline, part of that Secret Wars stuff that happened. But we recently saw him in, what was that book with Power Pack? Is that the new Guardians? Well, I know Power Pack has their own, but she appeared in, was it Guardians? The new Guardians series? I forget where. But we've seen the maker, not the creator, the maker, appearing there, because you don't want to call him evil Reed Richards now that Fantastic Four are back. So anyway, not sure how all of this ties in, but again, it is Venom. It's Donny Cates. This gets a lot of people to buy books. It's an Absolute Carnage tie-in, so this should be a pretty big seller this week. And then finally, this one I want to bring up just because I like it. This is Midnight Mystery from Alterna. Alterna does books on newsprint. They feel like the comics I grew up with in the 80s and 90s. They're small press, but they're really good stories. Midnight Mystery, this guy is... I don't want to say a John Constantine type because he's really not. He's more of a hard-boiled detective, but he always gets caught into horror stuff. Basically, if Hellboy wasn't Hellboy, if he was a regular dude instead of being a prince of hell, if he was just this regular guy who was fighting the demon stuff, this is pretty much what Midnight Mystery is. It's got a film noir style to it. And part number one of this actually came out a while ago. This has been delayed. I'm glad to see it's finally coming out. I look forward to this book, City of Ghosts Volume 2. You can get the trade of the first series for like $6.99 or $7.99, something like that. It's pretty cheap. I highly recommend you check it out. I love the artwork. I love the story. This style that you see here on the cover, this is what the book looks like on the inside. It is just a fantastic stylized. Makes me think, there's one reason why I bring up Hellboy is because it reminds me of Mike Mignola and that stylized look, very angular, very dark, really good, a lot of fun, and only $1.50. Now, this was supposed to be out in shops already, but it got delayed, so it's coming out now, a couple weeks late, but that tends to happen sometimes with Alterna. Their books are shipped overseas, from overseas where they're printed, so it may take a while for them to get here, but it is a good book. I implore you guys, look at some of the stuff from Alterna. They've got really good comics coming out, and they are cheap, usually $1, $1.50 in that range, depending on the book. So, anyway, anything big you're looking forward to? Anything coming out this week I didn't cover that you think is going to be a big book to look forward to? Or as you read your books this week and something you really enjoyed, come back and drop it in the comments down below, talking about what about the books you actually enjoyed, and that is something that we can build on and talk about in the future. But anyway, guys, for this video, this preview of stuff coming out, that's going to do it for me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.